I can't tell my daughter, but her husband wants to be friends with benefits while she's sick, and it's breaking my heart. I'm a 46-year-old woman who had my daughter, Laura 30 female, when I was just 16. We share a very close bond. Laura's father was much older and abusive, and it took significant effort to remove him from our lives. As Laura grew up, our relationship evolved into more of a friendship. I eventually returned to college and she followed in my footsteps, even pursuing the same major and advancing to earn her PhD. I couldn't be prouder of her. During her studies, she met and married her husband, who was 43 years old, and they have a son whom I absolutely adore. Initially, I was pretty hesitant about her husband because he was closer to my age than hers, but he won me over with his devotion to my daughter and their child. About 8 months ago, my daughter started a new job but found herself completely exhausted every day. At first she thought it was just the demands of work, raising a child, and daily life. However, my normally energetic daughter was sleeping whenever she could. Then she began having breathing difficulties and was rushed to the hospital, where we discovered she had a blood clot in her lung. While that was treated easily, they found an underlying condition that made her very ill. The past year or so has been incredibly tough. She has had numerous hospital stays and treatments, and at home she has mostly been confined to moving between her bed and the sofa. Her husband has been amazing throughout this. Despite working full-time, he has been by her side whenever possible. I have been taking care of my grandchild a lot, and together we have managed to make it work. Then last month we finally received some good news. She had turned a corner, so to speak. She was slowly starting to improve, but there was still a long road ahead. Still, I felt like I exhaled for the first time since her diagnosis last weekend. I had some time to myself and went out with some colleagues. It was a lot of fun. Last Sunday, I literally did nothing but relax around the house, and it was wonderful. Sunday night, as I was locking up and getting ready for bed, my son-in-law arrived. I immediately panicked, but he assured me that Laura was fine. Then he just burst into tears. He said he was worn out, worn down and feeling lost. I really felt sorry for him because he has been carrying so much on his shoulders. It's been tough watching our daughter so unwell constantly. He went on about how much he missed her touch and their intimacy, even just cuddling and lying together. I mentioned that they still did those things, but he said it was only for short periods and it wasn't the same. They hadn't really made love since she got ill. Maybe only twice. He saw that I was getting a bit angry and quickly reassured me that he wasn't blaming Laura. Then he started talking about how Laura and I looked more like sisters with the same body shape, hair, smile and sense of humor. He said, I looked at least 10 years younger than my age. Normally, I'd appreciate such a compliment, but I had a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. He said that if he had never met Laura, I'd be just his type. I snapped at him to spit it out and tell me what he was getting at. Then he asked if we could be friends with benefits until Laura got better, saying she would never know and it would provide comfort for both of us. He added that we both had a lot to lose, so we didn't share. Laura never found out. I was horrified and speechless for a moment before asking if he was serious. He said yes. I couldn't believe it. I told him I had far more to lose because Laura was my irreplaceable daughter, but apparently to him she was easily replaced. He insisted that wasn't true and that he loved her with all his heart. He was just trying to cope with her illness. I was furious. I asked if he had already cheated on her and he looked shocked and offended, making things worse by saying, "No, I only want you." I told him it would never happen, ever, and if he did cheat on Laura, he would have to deal with me. He started sobbing again. I told him he needed counseling, not intimacy with his mother-in-law. He pleaded with me not to tell Laura, and he knows I can't, as I'm afraid this would literally finish her. I threw him out and spent the whole night going back over the last few years, and if I had somehow led him on, I didn't. We were friendly, but nothing more. Most of our interactions were around my grandson. I texted my daughter and told her I thought I had COVID, so I was going to stay for a while in case I infected her. I'm not sick, just heartsick. I can't face my daughter. I can't stand the sight of him, and I miss my grandchild. My chest feels like tight all the time, and my throat constantly feels dry and closed. I don't know what to do, but all I do know is I can't tell my daughter. I want to pick her up and move her in with me, with my grandchild, and send him on his way, but I can't. I've got to keep this damn secret, and I don't know how I can or what to do. I can't confide in anyone in real life, so here I am. He pleaded with me not to tell Laura, knowing that I can't because I'm afraid it would literally destroy her. I threw him out and spent the whole night replaying the past few years, wondering if I had somehow led him on at any point. I hadn't. We were friendly, but nothing more. Most of our interactions were about my grandson. I texted my daughter telling her I thought I had COVID and would stay away for a while to avoid infecting her. I'm not sick, just heartbroken. I can't face my daughter. I can't stand the sight of him, and I miss my grandchild. My chest feels tight all the time and my throat constantly feels dry and closed. I don't know what to do, but I do know I can't tell my daughter. I want to pick her up, move her and my grandchild in with me and send him on his way, but I can't. I have to keep this secret, and I don't know how or what to do. I can't confide in anyone in real life, so here I am.